Today's video is about welfare science. We won't be discussing whether or not it's ethical to keep snakes in captivity. We're going to start with the premise that snakes are kept in captivity and how we objectively make sure they are experiencing good welfare. The San Diego Zoo Global Academy, as well as the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants, offers courses on animal welfare and welfare science. I learned much of the information I'm sharing with you today from completing these courses, as well as from some current research papers I will cite in the description. So what is welfare science? Animal welfare science is something that informs the decisions I make every day in my animal keeping, training, and behavior work, and helps me focus on what science informs us is a practical good for the animals. Welfare science takes knowledge obtained from scientific methods and uses it to conduct welfare assessments and to make decisions about the husbandry and treatment for animals under human care, which means animals under captive management and companion animals. So this discussion does not include animals in the wild. Animal welfare, animal rights, and animal ethics are not all the same thing, and it's important that we all understand that. So let's clarify the differences. Animal welfare is an animal's state as it tries to cope with its environment and refers to an animal's collective physical, mental, and emotional states over a period of time. It is measured by welfare science on a continuum from good to poor, and welfare assessments include measures of physical health, physiological state, and behavior. Animal rights is an idea based on philosophy and beliefs. It's a belief that animals should not unnecessarily be made to suffer, that they have inherent worth outside of usefulness to humans, and that they should have rights to protect them. Animal ethics are moral principles that govern our behavior towards animals and may govern how we conduct activities that involve animals. Ethics plays a role in both animal welfare and animal rights, and would consider such things like whether or not animals should be kept in captivity at all, or what level of welfare is acceptable when they are kept in captivity. For example, welfare science would objectively be able to determine that a snake is spending 80% of its time engaged in natural behaviors. Animal ethics would come into play when discussing if 80% is enough or if we should ensure that 100% of their time is spent engaged in natural behaviors. As keepers, we first need to realize that the absence of negative indicators of welfare does not equate to positive welfare. Animal welfare should be thought of on a continuum from good to poor, and it can change in a short amount of time. Remember that indicators of animal welfare will be species dependent. For example, mouth health and respiratory health are two indicators of physical well-being for our snakes. Exhibiting behavioral diversity is an indicator of mental well-being for our snakes. Combining these two things with other physical and emotional factors makes up the entire animal welfare continuum and can indicate where our snake falls along that continuum at any given point in time. The ACA, or Association of Zoos and Aquariums, Animal Welfare Committee defines animal welfare as an animal's collective physical, mental, and emotional states over a period of time, and is measured on a continuum from good to poor. Welfare is considered on an individual basis from an animal's birth throughout its lifetime and at any given point within that time. So at one point in its lifetime, an animal may be experiencing poor welfare, and at another point in time, it may experience good welfare. Part of captive animal management is continually assessing an animal's welfare based on both negative and positive inputs and outputs. Inputs are those things that we as keepers contribute to the animal's overall experience, like if we're providing environmental enrichment or if we're providing a balanced diet, as examples. And outputs are what the animal actually experiences, and these need to be measured from the perspective of the animal. An animal experiences good welfare when it is healthy, comfortable, well-nourished, safe, has the ability to express behaviors and cognitive abilities typical for its species, and when it is expressing those behaviors. The animal must also be free from fear, pain, and distress. It's really important to understand that an animal may have an ideal habitat excellent diet, and plenty of opportunities to express natural behaviors, but still not be experiencing what is considered a good range of animal welfare if it is experiencing fear, anxiety, or distress. Animal welfare science uses data based on objective physical and psychological measures to make evidence-based captive animal management decisions. Best practices should be in place to make sure that physical, mental, and emotional aspects of care are being met so that each animal can thrive. In our next episode of Super Dwarf Sunday, hopefully TC will want to come out all the way and interact with me during the video. But either way, we will talk about what it means for an animal to thrive and go through the 5 opportunities to thrive that San Diego Zoo Global, a leader in captive animal welfare, advocates as best practices.